Staying with the building collapse in Banana Island, earlier we spoke with a structural engineer, Mr. Adjoining, on the issue. I began by asking him to give his initial assessment on the incident.
There are several things that could have gone wrong, and in the course of the investigation, I think this is going to be revealed. It could be poor structural design of the building. It could be a poor construction methodology. It could be poor quality control. And it could be maybe due to some corrupt practices. And it could also be due to lack of compliance with the specification from the engineers. So in the course of the investigation, I think this is going to be unraveled. So at the moment, one might not be able to suspect the actual cause of the failure. But looking at what the LASEMA PAMSEC said, that there was an impact from a truck mixer. If eventually that is confirmed, we would like to find out at what speed did the truck mixer actually hit the vertical member of the structure to warrant the entire collapse, which I call the disproportionate collapse to the impact on the structure.
All right, engineer, do you think developers and realtors need another layer of, should I say, auditing and regulation in terms of capacity and compliance to stop this menace of building collapses?
I believe there should be more engagement between private sector, I mean, the engineers, consultants, and the government agencies. If you look at the government agencies, they do not have enough hands to go around thousands of construction sites in Lagos that is ongoing simultaneously. So I would suggest that government needs to engage the consultants in the real estate industry, in the construction and the built environment, so that we can together join us together to tame this menace. It's becoming too much, and something that as an engineer I'm really not proud of to even hear anymore after this. You know, we had one close to a year and a half, the Koi building collapse, and I believe the lesson learned from that should have been carried on. The government really needs to step up the game. They need more hands. They need consultants to come into this business. We can't afford to be losing life. We thank God that, according to what we read, that no life was lost. But the cost of this incident is something that is avoidable. So I believe going forward that we should be able to have a kind of collaboration to tame this menace.
All right. Of course, like you rightly said, this issue of building collapse is one too many in Lagos State. But of course, the authorities, the state government has already promised to carry out an integrity test on the adjoining buildings. What do you think that procedure is going to be like, and how long is it going to take?
You know, the essence of having an integrity test is to ensure that the adjoining properties during their design life does not suffer any damage as a result of this collapse. And the reason is to ensure that people, the inhabitants, are safe and we do not experience any fatalities. So what is going to be done is what we call a non-destructive testing. So it doesn't have to be evacuating or asking the inhabitants to leave. So it's a non-destructive testing, and it could involve the use of a strain gauge. There's a device that we call Pondit or Smith armor that can be used. Some ultrasound equipment can also be used as well to detect what has happened and to make sure that the structure, any deflection or anything that could make the inhabitant uncomfortable. So if there is any concern from the specialists, they're going to write a report and submit to the government and advise whether there are areas that needs to be addressed, whether there's any remedial activities that needs to be done in order to make the property fit for purpose, or if it's going to be an outright demolition so that we can avert any further disaster.
All right, and finally, after this integrity test, what next? What should we expect, particularly the occupants of those adjoining buildings?
I think what they need is reassurance from the government agencies, from the professional bodies, the engineering profession, after the test has been carried on. And I think the report should be in the public domain. Over the years, we've been trying not to make all these things to be visible. And I don't think that is right. We need our students in higher institution of learning to know what went wrong so that the lesson learned can be something that can help them while in the course of the practice. So the inhabitant needs to be assured after the integrity test has been conducted so that there will be no panic and there will going to be great assurance from the government that everything is okay, because the impact of the collapse has to be measured, whether it does have anything to do with the adjoining properties or not.